All right, thank you very much. Our next question is from UP Open University. The moderator is Dr. Teresa de Villa.
Magandang hapon at maligayang bati sa inyong katlo. I know Dr. Bautista at the end answered some questions, but I'd like more specifics. In what other ways can UP, as a national university, take a more proactive role in pushing for a genuine reform in Philippine education and in assisting the national leadership in designing a relevant and context-based research agenda in education?
Would you like me to read that for you? Would you like me to repeat the question for you? Yes. Well, this question was sent in by Yahoo Messenger. In what ways can UP, as the national university, take a more proactive role in pushing for a genuine reform in Philippine education and in assisting the national leadership in designing a relevant and context-based research agenda?
Actually, our conclusion addresses this. We're asking you, our university, to act. There is no research center on education in the Philippines. What we need is a research center that goes through issues like this. And therefore, we'll talk about higher ed, talk about basic ed, talk about the language issue. But we do not need, but this particular center will require particular kinds of researchers. In other words, UP is in a position to bring in researchers who are also in a position to convene people from different sectors as well as people from different groups in order to come together and work on education reform. But the education researchers we're also talking about cannot be the aloof, arrogant academic. I mean, even if we may be arrogant as academics and debate among ourselves, we also have to be, we don't have to be aloof, and we also have to be immersed. We cannot talk about education in this country without knowing what's going on in the field. And I think in answer to Ret de Villa's question, eventually we are requesting UP to actually put this up. We don't know where it will be lodged. It's like a National Institute of Education of sorts. It's like the National Institute of Education of Singapore that does research on all issues of education, big issues and small issues, and that distills discourses. It's not just the research, but also addressing the discursive points. We were talking earlier about all kinds of learning theories, but the learning theories still have to be distilled to this country. Social constructivism is a learning theory, but we cannot say we're adopting the social constructivism that's applied in Australia, hook, line, and sinker. That's precisely what we're saying, that you go down, let it roll down to the ground, and then we work out a learning theory that is more suited to our needs. But you would need, if DepEd needs central command, or not central, needs an orchestrator of reform activities, we would also need a center where all of these different research insights and crazy ideas can come together. We don't know what form it will take, but we just have to have a research group in this university, or if not, an education institute.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
Quickly,
yes,
just very quickly. I think that the last point of Cynthia, which is to get the UP to assist or help with the DepEd, is one half of the situation. The other one is how do we encourage that relationship to prosper both ways? It's not like UP will do the researching and then it will tell DepEd, these are the findings. No. It has to be done collaboratively. And that assumes a strong relationship between the two and all other stakeholders in this. I think that the main question is how do we make that relationship come alive again? Because we seem to have lost it.
All right. We do have more questions coming. UP Baguio is ready. Ms. May Peñalba.
Good afternoon. Many people assume that the function of education is to produce graduates that are employable. What is your opinion about this, especially in consideration of the fact that many of our college graduates with very good competencies end up being employed in jobs that underutilize their competencies?
Choppy. Okay. Many people assume that the function of education is to produce graduates that are employable. What is your opinion about this, especially in consideration of the fact that many of our college students, of our college graduates with very good competence end up being employed in jobs that underutilize their competencies?
The question is a bit funny to me. Of course, it's good if the educational system allows us to get jobs, right? But we want to make the point that getting our people employed is not going to transform our society. We need to make sure that these people are able to use their skills not just for employment purposes, but for making lives of other Filipinos better. What we do not want is to perpetuate the system where you are equipped with skills that you can use to move yourself forward and leave everyone behind, which is usually what happens now.
President Abueva, may we have your question? Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. My first question is, how soon can you come out and print your papers? Now, I have a very practical reason for that. I am a member of the President's Task Force on Education Reform. And before the end of the month, we are supposed to submit our report. But the thrust of our task force is to make the educational system relevant to the needs of the country. And this is defined largely as the needs of industry and business. And so I'm not very happy with the thrust of our task force. And I find your report filling up a very big void in our own agenda in this task force. And particularly on the issue of the vernacular, the mother tongue language. When I proposed that we really use the mother tongue up to the Gunigundu Bill, in essence, the reaction there was, it's really impractical. We cannot prepare all the materials that are needed and so on. There are all kinds of excuses. So I have mobilized the Linguistic Society and other forces in our society to inform the task force about the importance of the language issue. So that's why the urgency of your report is really very, very important. Even if it is not yet in final publication form, because I'd like to submit that in our last meeting, which will be in a week or so.
No, sir. We can actually give you the report immediately. I mean, all you have to do is edit and put our citations, because we don't have this there. Our lecture this afternoon is not exactly the same as a chapter that will be coming out in the forthcoming Philippine Human Development Report. But that chapter has more information, more detailed discussion also of the reforms. And well, we're not yet ready to give that, but we will see how fast we can finish and how fast the Philippine Human Development Report can be produced.
All right, thank you. UP Cebu is ready. Mr. Elmer Montejo, please come in.
Salamat maayong hapon kaninyong tanan gikan dinhi sa harang dakya sa Subo. We have one question from one of our longtime faculty members from the Professional Education Division of UP Cebu College. She teaches Socio-Cultural Foundations of Education, Dr. Sofia Lugarta.
Hello again. Dr. Bautista and Dr. Ocampo, we feel very much the problem that you have pointed out, this centralized, because we're working with teachers in the public sector. So I would like to ask for your suggestion. How can we in the regions push for decentralization out here, far from the national capital region? Like, for example, we would like to ask, how can we move our teachers to such powerful learning environments when they are concerned with rankings in the national examinations prepared in the national capital region?
All right. May I just read for you the question? The question is for Dr. Bautista. How can we in the regions work to push for DepEd decentralization?
By encouraging, no, let me answer it this way. There is a law. Actually, it's by law. By law, it should already be decentralized. Now, there is a problem when you have decentralization, you have very, very powerful officials. But I think encourage your superintendents, encourage your division superintendents to actually take the law seriously, which means that they should already begin taking over the accountability of ensuring that school-based management goes down to the levels of the schools. I mean, that's the first thing that would come to my mind at the moment, but it is not illegal for them to actually begin implementing the law. I mean, if you can just assure your regional, your division superintendents and the regional officers that they should bring it down to the ground, then I think that would help. The second question, however, is different. I think there's a second question about how to create learning environments.
Yes, there's a second question for Dr. Bernardo. How can we build powerful learning environments when teachers are concerned with rankings in national examinations prepared in the NCR?
That's a very good question. We now know that tests have the unfortunate effect of restricting learning. So we call it the backwash effect. In effect, students will only learn what you test them for. And this is why what we're advocating is a comprehensive reform and not just a piecemeal reform, where we start with redefining what the objectives of the curriculum are. We also need to overhaul the entire assessment system. I think it is the PICER that actually recommended the abolition of the DepEd's NETRC and instead put a national testing office which will develop more appropriate assessment instruments. But I think a more important point is that we need to change the larger environment in which teachers operate, where they are so concerned about the test scores, as well, most of the time their merit incentives, etc., will be dependent on their test scores. So we need to include that in the comprehensive reform and rechange that environment as well.